Hi there, my name's John from activejr.com, and in this video I'm going to be doing an Apple Watch Series 2 versus a Garmin Fenix 5X. So the two watches I'm going to be using today is a Garmin Fenix 5X and a Apple Watch Series 2 Black Stainless Steel Edition. Now both of these watches I own. I've been using them for a long time now. I've used them for a variety of activities. So this review will focus on giving you a comparison between them both, but also give you my experience of using them, so hopefully give you the information to decide which one is the right one for you. Okay, before we get started, remind you below as usual, there is links to the products that are featured in this video, and there's up-to-date pricing, so check those out. Also, subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. And also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, or if you've got a comment, please leave a comment below. I'm quite active, so I'll give you a response back. And finally, also check out my other social platforms if you search for ActiveJR Official on Instagram and Facebook, and also check out my website at activejr.com. Thanks very much, let's get straight into the video. So let's just start with design and pricing, and starting with the Garmin Fenix 5. It's got a stainless steel bezel, it's got a sapphire crystal screen, and it's got a stainless steel back. Now it's got a polymer reinforced body, and it's also got the polymer quick fit bands. The design is pretty chunky, and through the entire series you do get different sizes, from the 5S to the 5 to the 5X. This particular one is a 5X, it is a chunky watch. It starts at £630, so it's a pretty pricey watch, but it's, in my experience and based on my use, you get a load of great features, and it's a solid watch for those looking for some serious fitness data, and also to use in an outdoor environment. Moving on to the Apple Watch Series 2. Now this model is the Apple Watch Series 2 Stainless Steel Black Edition. It's got a full stainless steel body with a sapphire crystal screen. It also features bands that can be changed, and they come in a variety of different materials. This particular model starts at $599, and it does go up to about $650. However, you can get the Apple Watch cheaper, so if you want an aluminium version, they do start at $399, so that's something to look at if you are on a budget. So based on using both of these watches, based on the design, I found that I am willing to do more extreme things with the Garmin Fenix 5X. I seem to throw it around a lot more, whereas the Apple Watch 2, I found that I take more care. I'm constantly wiping and polishing because it does get a lot of smears on that particular screen. And also as well, because the Apple Watch 2 has got a touchscreen, if your hands are clammy or you've been doing a water-based activity, you do find that trying to interact with the screen, it's not very good, and that's the same with all touchscreens. So whereas the Garmin Fenix 5 is buttons only and there's no touchscreen, I do like the design and the overall build quality of the Garmin Fenix 5X. Before you start to look for any fitness watch, you need to have a look at the phone you use, or how you want to interact with your fitness device. So in terms of the Garmin Fenix 5X and the Garmin Fenix 5 series, it works with iPhone, Android and Windows mobile devices. You also can look at your data online on the web, so it's pretty good in terms of the operating systems or the phones it will support. So you're not locked down if you've got an Android device and you want a Garmin Fenix 5. Whereas if you are looking at the Apple Watch 1 or even the Apple Watch 2, you need to have an iPhone. You can't even set this device up without having an iPhone to set it up with. Now in terms of the apps themselves, the Garmin Connect app that comes with the Garmin Fenix 5X is pretty comprehensive, and you can get a load of data out of it, and you also can access it online as well. So I think the Garmin Connect app is pretty good, and you can also export data from it. When you're looking at the Apple Watch apps, there's two apps. There's the Health app, and then there is the Activity app. So the Health app, it gives your overall health information based on a variety of different data sources, not just from the Apple Watch, but if you're connected to other apps. You've got the Activity app, which can be accessed via the watch, or it can be accessed via the phone. Now, in my opinion, I think it's pretty limited. I think for someone that's looking for lots of fitness data. But if you are someone that's looking for just the right amount of information at a glance to be able to see where you are in terms of your activities throughout the day and how much time you've put into certain activities, then it is a good app. So moving on to sports tracking and sensors, we're starting with the Garmin Fenix 5X. And if you look at the Garmin Fenix 5X, it supports a load of sports activities, ranging from running, indoor running, cycling, outdoor swimming, indoor swimming, cardio, strength. It's got a hell of a lot that it supports. You also can connect a variety of different sensors from ANT+ and Bluetooth. So the ANT+ ones are things like power meters, circadian sensors, heart rate monitors, speed sensors. You also can attach a smart Bluetooth heart rate monitor, and I think over time Garmin will open this up to other smart Bluetooth devices as well. In terms of the activity profiles themselves, you can customize them, so you can change the data fields that you see, and you can have up to 7 different screens as you scroll through. So I think this is really useful. The Garmin Fenix 5X and the Garmin Fenix 5 series in general also has a number of post-training aids that you can use. So if you are someone that's training for something, it gives you a clear indication of where you are in terms of your overall progress, and if you are fit enough to train or run for a particular distance. Now, I found that I use my body to be able to assess whether I'm ready, but this added information really helps, and I think it's really useful. So I think that's a big thing over the Apple Watch 2. Now, moving on to the Apple Watch 2, this is a scaled down version, and it's pretty limited. You've got a number of activities that you can choose from running, cycling and swimming, and you also have got an other which you can use for the cardio activities. The screens you see themselves are, again, limited, but it gives you the basic information like heart rate, pace, distance and time, which I think is enough for most people. But if you are someone that's looking for the advanced information and more up-to-date data fields, then the Garmin Fenix 5 is probably the one for you. In terms of connecting sensors, again, you're pretty limited with the Apple Watch 2. You can connect an external heart rate monitor via Bluetooth, but anything else you want to connect for sports activities, then it's a no-go. Both the Garmin Fenix 5 and the Apple Watch 2 both feature wrist-based heart rate sensors. Now, in my opinion, I've not found a difference between them both. I think they're both susceptible to the same problems that feature in most wrist-based HR sensors, so I'd always recommend using a chest strap. Both devices also feature GPS and GLONASS tracking, so that gives you a double lock on the GPS signal, and I found that both of them are pretty much in line with each other, so there's no real differences there. Now, based on my experience of using both devices, the Garmin Fenix 5 and the Apple Watch 2 are pretty accurate for various different activities. I've certainly found with the swim tracking, the Apple Watch 2 is just as accurate as the Garmin Fenix 5X. However, when it comes to running, I believe the Garmin Fenix 5X is more accurate than the Apple Watch 2. And I think it all depends on how much data you want, how accurate you want it to be, and also how much you want to deep dive into that data and the post-workout. So moving on to the battery life. The battery life on the Garmin Fenix 5X is really good for a fitness smartwatch, GPS watch, whatever you want to call it, and and based on my experience, it's lasting about a week to about 8-9 days based on heavy use. When it comes to the Apple Watch 2, Apple say it lasts for about 24 hours. I have had the Apple Watch 2 last for about 1.5 days before I've needed to charge it. And again, this is based on heavy use, so doing a variety of exercises, but also using it throughout the day, interacting with the device. Now, it all depends on what you're wanting. If you're wanting a watch that lasts a long time without charging, there's plenty of other options, but in this video, the Garmin Fenix 5X wins this category. So with any fitness tracker, you also need to track your daily activities. Not only your fitness activities where you set the watch or you go on a run, you also need to set and track those activities that you're doing out throughout the day. So starting with the Garmin Fenix 5, it tracks a host of activities. It also tracks sleep as well. So because of the battery life, as I mentioned before, you also can wear this throughout the night, and it will give you a better understanding of your sleep patterns, and also feeds into the Garmin Connect app to give you overall fitness status. Moving on to Apple Watch 2, again it tracks a whole host of different activities, from steps, from stairs climbed. It also gives you prompts, just like the Garmin Fenix 5 does. Both watches have map capability. I've already mentioned you can't use the maps during an activity. And the maps are based on satellite images for the Apple Watch 2. And I think they are really good. The turn-by-turn directions for just general navigating are really good. You also can download Google Maps, which works really well, and that's my preferred mapping solution if I'm using the Apple Watch 2 or even using the iPhone. Whereas the Garmin Fenix 5X, it does have maps, and they are catered to the outdoors type and also cycling. Now, they do work, but I was still disappointed when I first got my Fenix 5X. On the original documentation and the promos, it promised topo maps. It didn't come with topo maps, so anyone, well, certainly in the UK it doesn't, in the US it does, but not in the UK. So if you are an outdoor hiking person, you do need these maps to be able to use them correctly. But there is a solution, and there's a link coming above now, which takes you to another video of how to install top-up maps. But I think in terms of the maps, I think the Apple Watch 2 again wins. I think it's more of a complete solution. So moving on to smart features and apps for both devices. Now the Garmin Fenix 5 supports smart features, so you can pull weather data. You also can get call and text alerts, and it also supports apps from the Garmin Connect App Store. In my opinion, the Garmin Connect App Store is pretty limited. It's got a number of developers that do develop these apps, and some of them are really good, but then you also get some really crap apps, like you do with any app store. If you move on to the Apple Watch 2, I think this is where really the Apple Watch 2 does really excel, and it's all down to those apps and that ecosystem. There is thousands of apps available. Some of them are really useful. You also can download third-party fitness apps such as Under Armour or Map My Run or Map My Fitness, and they work really well with the Apple Watch 2. I think the overall app experience and the interaction you get at the Apple Watch 2 is better than the Garmin Fenix 5X. You also can answer calls, and you can also respond to texts. Another feature the Apple Watch 2 has over the Garmin Fenix 5 series is the ability to pair music to the device. So you can sync music to the 8GB storage that the Apple Watch 2's got. You also can sync Bluetooth headphones, so if you're going out for a run, you've got an Apple Watch 2, you don't need to take your phone with you, you just sync some music and you go out for that run. If, however, you're using the Garmin Fenix 5 or the Fenix 5X, then you still need to take your phone in order if you want to listen to music. Now, this was a surprise to me, given the Fenix 5X does have 16GB of storage. However, I don't think it's a priority for them. Okay, so in summary, if you start with the Garmin Fenix 5X, I think this is aimed at a serious outdoors fitness type of person, someone that's wanting a lot of data and to be able to deep dive into that data post activity, but also be able to customize your experience on the screen. And that is someone that also wants to connect to a variety of different sensors. So the Apple Watch 2, in summary, I think it's a good fitness watch, but it's mainly aimed at someone that's wanting a blend of fitness features, but also smart features that work really well. The fitness features are good enough for an average user. It will give you the information you need, but you also get a really good experience in terms of the smart features. So the boatload of apps that are available on the App Store, and a majority of them are free, but also the apps that come as part of the device work really well. And I think it's a really good device if you want a good blend between a fitness watch, but also a experience in terms of smart features. So I think the choice is all down to the user, but hopefully this video has given you an overview of both devices. So thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you all soon.